Hey team, welcome. Welcome everyone to the DAO operations stand-up call. We have a stand-up every morning at 9:15, and this is where Mikey goes over all of the various different funding proposals that we've dealt with in the last week. This is where Devin and Rachel talk to us about all of the great tools that they've found or they're sponsoring and helping bring over to Harmony. It's actually a great opportunity to talk about all the traction that we're having. Then, of course, our new person who will be introduced today is Chuck, who will be talking a lot, who will be helping us figure out how to onboard people into DAOs. There's a lot of great wisdom out there already, but given the stretch of the bandwidth of the entire team, I wanted to make sure we had somebody dedicated to that, and that's our man, Chuck Ram. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see what we work off of on a daily basis. Let's see, can you guys see that?
Yep, all good.
We're good? Okay. So what this is these are our notes. And so on Mondays, we go in depth through a bunch of funding stuff. So we dedicate almost our entire time to funding. Tuesdays is this open call where we like to have time to talk with the DAO signatories about what are the questions and see if we can find some answers for them. On Wednesday, we talk about tooling, which is, the Devin and Rachel show. And on Thursday, it's a one-man show that is Chuck and how he's running things. And then on Friday, we try to resolve any outstanding things. Besides the team that is always outstanding, what I really mean is any issues that need to be addressed. So let's see. Every now and then I will have to pause because I'm letting somebody in to the meeting. So welcome. I want to go ahead and start off. As you can see, we have a brief agenda here that Mikey fleshed out. Thank you, Mikey. Let's go ahead and let Chuck introduce himself and talk a little bit about his vision and deliverables and what he's going to be doing here in April. Chuck, try, if you can, to limit it to about 5 minutes.
I'll keep it under 5 minutes for sure. But that's a great time.
The bigger the turnout, the better.
Oh, was that somebody that came in wasn't muted? I'm gonna assume so. Anyway, I am Shakaram. Absolute pleasure to be here. I've met a fair amount of you over the course of the last 3 or 4 conferences that we've had the opportunity to co-create with. But I am, as stated, going to be handling the onboarding. And so essentially, it's the problem that I foresaw when I told myself and whoever that I was going to be working with Harmony was that, yes, we have a 10,000 DAO goal by 2026, but are we getting the highest value DAOs? Are we getting the highest quality DAOs? And are we setting up our DAOs for the for success? Business dev and marketing has kind of been my it's been my niche for years. I've most recently built out all the branding and marketing for NFTLA. It's a passion of mine that I've been driven over the last 10 years to really deconstruct. And so what I foresaw when I spoke with Sam was that we want to make sure that we are bringing in the highest quality of DAO to the program, and we want to make sure that we are giving the right amount of support without, the right amount of support within. So what came to mind and what's being built in the process now is how do we do this? How do we go about it? I believe that it's introducing a bit of gamification and a bit of competition into the process. And so as far as the outlines for the vision go right now, it's to build out a brand and brand identity for the DAO Ops program. And what that means is that we have we need a singular voice, feel, tone, everything that goes along with being able to court DAOs, both existing and DAOs oncoming. It's something that we all resonate with and can all speak for, and that we sound very similar inside of our messaging. And so we want to make sure our messaging is right for DAOs and kind of set that framework. That includes a brand ID. That's also going to include, you know, everything from logo all the way down to a brand guideline book. Past that, we will be diving into the onboarding process from a event level, which basically means that before you get to approval, before you get to approval status, we want to have an educational process. There's a lot of educational DAOs that are coming on, and most of them, from what I've seen, have been post approval. But we want to make sure that we're educating our DAOs, and we also have somewhere to, if you do happen to get a no or a rejection from a DAO proposal, we want to have somewhere where you can come back to get your knowledge up, and then be able to become, I don't like the word certified, but go through an incubation process that then allows you to reapply and have a high success metric. This will also be governed by a governance token, which will pay you for learning and for teaching. And it'll give us a really high idea of what DAOs are going to be doing after they apply, after they've been approved, their likeliness for success. And then the last thing is I'm definitely wanting to open and extend the voting for DAOs. And this is actually a new concept I fleshed out last night, but I want to extend the voting for DAOs and bring it past just the DAO. The voting for DAOs, I would like to make it community wide. I'd like to make it almost like Reddit, where the community is going to be uplifting the DAO voting. So as DAOs get closer to approval, the better their community is, the better operationally they are, the more people they're able to onboard to their DAO, the more clout that they'll be able to get, and the community will vote, and it'll give us a very small list of approvals at the top of community-backed DAO projects, which I think will be a really cool step in decentralizing how DAOs work, but especially how we bring out DAOs and which DAOs we bring out. And so with that said, I'll leave it at that. I'll be keeping an open Notion page as far as the status of all this, but I do work very fast by history, and so I plan on getting all this done in a very short amount of time, and co-creating with a lot of the DAO owners, especially the educational DAO owners that have been around. And so just keep a lookout for Onboard DAO. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And then really quickly, at the beginning of every month, we actually publish our deliverables about what we are doing. And so importantly for Chalk, one of his, he has 3 deliverables for this month. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. And those are gonna be on board 1,000 new DAOists. So you guys, we're gonna have 1,000 new people joining the DAO ecosystem here in Harmony. Number 2 is he is gonna help these DAOs, at least 50 of them, generate and publish their DAO reports. So one of the things that we love to have as far as the brand and the identity of our DAOs is this radical transparency. And to accomplish that, what we like to see is that the DAOs take initiative to issue a report about what their deliverables were, how they performed, so these metrics, and a little bit about what income they received and what payments went out. That way, all of the members of your DAO can understand everything that's going on. So that's Shock's second, his second deliverable for the month is to get 50 of these reports out. And then his final one is going into this Harmony DAO brand. He's going to work really hard, not just in his ivory tower that he loves to live in, but working with the DAOs to find what are the 7 aspects of the brand identity for our Harmony DAO. So, and he'll publish those by the end of the month as well. So those are his big 3 deliverables. So everybody, please welcome our Chief Magistrate of DAO Onboarding, Chalk Ram. Okay, let's see. All right, we are having a little bit of back and forth. The one thing that we're trying to do is everyone can see the stand-up doc. Hopefully, the only people who have edit access is us. We may have to do a little something to change that around a little bit. But being able to see it is fine. Like, we love to share stuff. The only thing is that this is our internal, these are our internal notes from our internal meetings. So take that with a grain of salt. Not everything here will be actually resolved. Not everything here is something that we will fully, 100% address, but you should understand that. Okay, let's pop over to Ford Slosh. Mr. Slosh, will you talk to us a bit about the DAOs that have been approved and what your deliverables are for the month of April?
Yes, I will. Hello, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Got a really good turnout today. It's awesome. Lots of people. Cool. I think Maddie's here too. Hi, Maddie. I miss you. So yeah, so let's go right into sort of, I need to start with the DAOs that actually have been approved just this past week. And again, a lot more to come. I'm really satisfied. I'm really happy with the progression of the DAO tool, with the DAO funding pipeline as it is right now. Especially with, everybody knows that I left my other job a couple weeks ago, and it's definitely just opened up a whole mess of time that I have for Harmony now. So I'm really looking forward to just keep getting better with the communication and the funding. So just this last week, in the past couple of days, the Brazil DAO has been approved. So I don't know if Crypto Tech is on this call right now. I didn't see him, but that's very exciting. That's obviously, that came out of E3O. So that's awesome. Love it. Also, this is pretty neat. The Catalan DAO, which is it's a regional DAO, but it's more of a cultural DAO. But they've also been approved with a small caveat, because obviously, with the meetups that are happening are going to be really done either by the Spanish DAO or even the French DAO, and the translation has pretty much already been accomplished by the Spanish DAO. So there's a bit of a caveat in the amount of funding that they'll get, but I'm sure that we'd be open to hearing any other types of milestones that the Catalan DAO would like to try and achieve themselves. Other than that, the Blue LATAM DAO, which also came out of E3O, and the Blue DAO in conjunction with the Blue DAO has also been approved for $10,000. So that's awesome. Much more to come with that as well. I'll just really quickly now just go to some of my deliverables that I hope to accomplish, not only in April, but also in the next 3 months. Still working on an up-to-date DAO directory, which is going to be just a one-stop shop for everything DAO. You can go to this one site. It's going to be a Notion site at first until we get the website harmony.one/DAOs up and running. But it's going to be a great place to go to and just see every DAO that's operational in Harmony. It does take a little, it takes some time to onboard all that information, but it's happening and it's pretty cool. A complete Harmony DAO onboarding document. I'll be assisting Shock on that as well. I'm kind of following his lead. He's the brains of the operation, but I'm here to help him in any way, shape, or form. I'll continue complete ownership of all new DAO grant proposals. Basically, proposal comes in, it's tagged for me. I tell them that it's under review. Then it goes to need info. I need to get information out of them, and then to approve, and then hopefully finally funded. Under that, the to review tab is going to be consistently 0 under my watch, and the need info tab will be less than 10 by the end of the week under my watch, because that's been a big, even since I came on to the operations, because of the bottleneck of information, and it still is, it's getting better, but it can still get better and better and better. And so I'm confident that this will be very easy to do. Let's see here. Cross-channel DAO ops, support for the community, responding to DAO queries in 48 hours or less. This is something that I can definitely improve as well, still. Oh, and also really quickly, everybody listening, don't be afraid to ping me directly. I don't like doing private conversations when it comes to like helping, I like to keep things out in the sunlight in public. But if you just want to ping me and say, hey, Mikey, Slosh, please remember about, just a reminder about this. Can you take a look at that? Don't hesitate to do that. That's what I need. I need that. Also, the one weekly newsletter is starting soon with the help of Daniel, Mushimu, and Matt, and a couple other people, which I'm really excited about. A reminder DAO. Yes, please. That'd be great, Bricktop. And then, and just really quickly, the last little bit is basic DAO. Me and Maddie are working hard. That was supposed to be done end of quarter 1, but Maddie's obviously been super busy with ETH Rio and ETH Denver. He was sick. So we just kind of took a hit on that, but we're back and we're in it. We're ready to go. Really excited about the basic DAO. It's going to really clear up. Hopefully it's going to really clear up a lot of confusion surrounding timesheets and onboarding. And then of course I'm getting the matching DAO. That's going to happen. And that's going to be awesome. The matching DAO is going to be a very, very fun thing. So if anybody wants to help me get that started, please reach out in my DMs. And then of course, and this is something that kind of everybody, assist with event ops when appropriate and if available. But so those are some of my 3-month deliverables. I'm excited. Can't wait.
So I did share my screen regarding the grant proposals pipeline, just so that everybody saw kind of how this works. We reviewed it last week, so I'll go over it just really quickly. As you guys put up a proposal on talk.harmony.one, it automatically floats into the system. And every day, the funding team also has a stand-up, like the DAO Ops stand-up, and they go through all the uncategorized and put them into various different categories, funnily enough. And that's going to be stuff like DeFi, that's going to be stuff like DAOs, that's going to be stuff like products and bounties and events and all of those various different things. And so when we get new DAOs, sometimes they're not really DAOs, but sometimes they are, and sometimes they're duplicated, because what happens is we get a new tab every single time somebody comments on these things. So some of them show up over and over and over again. So we have to delete out the uncategorized. Then we push them into the to review category, and we assign them to somebody like Mikey, like myself, like Maddie, who's on the call, or Gib, or Jack, or Turin, Harmony Universe. And then that's when we start engaging with you on the forum page, getting more information, getting you to the to approve or declined category, and just, kind of massaging that into the format that we need it in. So I just wanted to show everybody that. So currently it looks like the machine learning aspect, the algorithm says we have 21 uncategorized. I don't know if that's true. We have 5 here that are under to review, but some of them obviously are not actual DAOs. Like this one is assigned to Peter because it's a GameFi. Peter and Bill is kind of running our play to earn category. And so that's how you can kind of see how they break down. But we work through that every single day.
The uncategorized isn't, that's not correct. For some reason, it keeps duplicating old proposals.
Yeah. So for example, right now we have 76 overall, but that's not true. Like once the funding committee will meet a little bit later today, and they'll blitz through those, and a lot of them will be duplicates and things that we'll delete. But I just wanted to flag that. All right. Devin, will you please tell us just a little bit about how awesome you are, and but a lot about DAO tools and what your deliverables are for the month of April?
Okay, cool. Well, how cool I am. I was a jet ski instructor for a summer. So that's pretty cool. And then DAO tools.
Shut the front door, seriously?
Yeah. Cool?
Jet ski instructor?
Yeah.
I taught 3-year-olds how to swim. So that's exciting as I got, but you got way more exciting than I did. All right, I'll let us keep going.
So DAO tools, yes. Rachel and I have been working on DAO tools. My deliverables regarding that is what I'll start with. So 10 DAO tools by the end of the month, by the end of April, because last month we crushed it. We had a goal of 5 and we onboarded 6. So we are going to shoot higher, and we are already off to a really good start We have one in the process of discussing. I don't know if we did formally approve them yet, so I just won't say. And then Rachel and I had an awesome conversation with, sorry about that, had an awesome conversation with Orca yesterday. Orca is in the process of building out a lot, but we are happy to say we're very good friends with them. Orca pods allow you to really visualize who is a part of what DAO. You can easily add people, have people leave if that's if they're out of the DAO. It's just a great visualization tool that is kind of the central core of one multi-sig control, and then visualizing that multi-sig control, and you can grow out the DAO from there, because the DAO is not just a 5 out of 9 multi-sig. So you do need the tools to be able to visualize that and go from there. So Orca, that's not this month, but we are excited to talk to them in the future. I'm getting off my train of thought. 10 was the goal. So yeah, 10, that's one of the goals. The other goal is Opolis. Now, I am in no way saying that this is officially going to happen, no partnership, blah, 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 do your own research, whatever. But Opolis is, for those of you who don't know, a fantastic tool, not just for DAOs, but for any self-employed worker. Lowers the barrier to entry to being a self-employed worker, being a 1099 contract employee, any of those things, because one, you don't have health insurance is usually the issue. Two, you don't have proof of employment, which is an issue if you're trying to buy a house or rent an apartment. And there's also tons of crazy, if you're being paid in crypto, like many DAO members are, that is also an issue for tax reporting and just, hey, how do I spend this? So Opolis fixes that all. And we are very excited to be in conversation with them. And my goal is to onboard 25 Harmony team members to Opolis by the end of the month as a way of testing out, hey, how do they work on chain, and can we get every DAO using Opolis, because it is life-changingly awesome. And my third goal is also very exciting. I am working on the RASCI, essentially the responsibility matrix for a conference that we will be throwing in September called One DAO. A lot of great ideas around that, including sponsoring a lot of members of the Harmony ecosystem to come to this conference, having the DAOs come together and even build this conference together and not make it just a team building out the conference. Having this be the flagship DAO conference where we discuss the fundamentals, the infrastructure, the foundation of what DAOs are going forward, and bring in DAOs from every other ecosystem as well to be one DAO. So yeah, those are my 3 deliverables for this month. And yeah, Rachel will chat a bit more about more of our DAO tools that we're working on, but we've got a few and it should be very exciting.
So really quick, before I throw it over to Rachel, I just want to touch on this one DAO. Devin, yeah. So first off, Devin, Bricktop is giving you a hard time in the chat because while you seemed very professional, the fact that your phone went off in the middle, like, dude.
I ruined it. I'm going to quit.
Steven would roast you over an open
yeah.
fire for that,
yeah.
just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Steven is not a fan. As you guys know, those of you who know, but Steven, whenever you meet with Steven, whenever you come to town and play with us, he does not like having cell phones around. Not like he likes to have people focused on what they're doing. As George walks off with his cell phone. Thanks, George. The point though is I wanted really quickly to talk about One DAO. This is a conference that I want to put together because we are creating Harmony as the destination for DAOs. So when you think DAOs, you think Harmony. Now, to accomplish that, we want to be able to share the best practices and have everyone share all of this sadness and pain that we all experience when we're trying to work in DAOs, because there's a lot, and misery loves company. So what I'm actually going to ask Devin to do, Devin, I don't know if you're super Twitter savvy, but do you want to set up a poll where people can suggest a city that we have it in. I'm not saying that it actually will be in the city that everybody suggests. Like Denver is very high priority because like this would be leading into the Meta Cartel DAO conference. I love the idea of doing it in Vegas because it's so incredibly cheap to run an event there. But I'm going to let Devin throw up a poll. I think it'd be incredibly expensive to do it out of San Francisco. I think it'd be incredibly expensive to do it out of New York City. But maybe like Denver or Vegas or Los Angeles or Miami. Don't love the idea about doing it in Los Angeles. I'm sorry, Chalk. Hate that town.
I hate that too. I'm good with that.
So in any case, we will do that.
Yeah, throw some ideas in the comments, guys, so I can get at least 4 going.
Yeah, there you go. And then go follow Devin, harass him, don't harass him, and comment on his poll. All right, Rachel, will you tell us a little bit about the DAO Tool Talk discussion and what your deliverables are for the month of April?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for coming. This is a great turnout today, and I'm really happy to be here as always. So I'll just start out piggybacking off of what Devin said. Last month, we had a goal to onboard 5 new DAO tools. This month, our goal is 10. We have had some great calls recently. I actually had a call with Commonwealth yesterday, and we're planning a live webinar next week for April 12th. So stay tuned for more information on that. We'll be talking about it on our DAO call, our download on Friday. Let's see. So I also wanted to discuss potentially exploring incentivization, similar to how we did with the Coordinate Challenge, to get more DAOs using different DAO tools that we're onboarding. And we have some more calls coming up here soon. And I know Colin is on the call, and one of my deliverables for this month is to get 50 DAOs using One Reputation. And seeing that we have a lot of different DAOs represented on this call today, I think there's a lot of potential there. And I'd like to set up a call with Colin to get more information on One Reputation. And let me pull up.
By the way,
really
I 100% love the fact that you just use this open call to say, Colin, let's set it up, buddy. I think that's great. So Colin, you are now officially on the hook for the fact that you, Rachel, and I need to have, let's have a meeting to action plan the launch of One Rep.
Okay, I'm also sharing a link for everyone right now. So I created an open community discussion surrounding DAO tooling on our talk forum. This is just something I opened up for the community, just to ask you all, what is at the top of your priorities when it comes to DAO tooling? Do you have any pain points? And I know Blue DAO was inspired by their pain points to start creating what they're working on as well. So that can definitely spark creation. And yeah, if you have used any tools that have helped you, if you're currently using any tools, or if you wish for us to specifically evaluate or avoid tools altogether, this is the place to talk about it. I've also included some resources that Sam created, including our DAO tooling target list and our DAO tooling matrix. So I highly recommend you guys check this page out. I'm really grateful that people have got involved in the conversation. We have Matt NFT on there. Jimbo shared a really good thread that he created. Let's see, Bricktop. Just thank you guys all for chiming in and getting involved in the conversation. So yeah, if you have any comments, concerns, of course you can ask on the call, but outside of the call, that's the place to go. And aside from that, so my deliverables for this month, of course, are to get 10 new DAO tools. My second deliverable is to scale to 30 in-person meetup events for Ambassador DAO. So yeah, if anyone wants to collaborate on events, we can do that as well. There's potential. And let's see. And yeah, assist in getting 50 DAOs using One Reputation by the end of this month. And I think that's it for me.
Fantastic. Okay, so 1 second as I am up, I guess, right? So let me do two things. Number one, let's talk a little bit about the funds that have gone out over the last week. So obviously in the notes that everyone sees on the screen, we have the Aurora dogs that have been approved, and Lee will be processing that soon. That's a 75K. I think, and Mikey, correct me if I'm incorrect, I think this is our last 75K grant. Like they came in right underneath the wire before we switched to the 50K grants.
That's correct, Sam. Yes, they were grandfathered in. They were approved by the DAO Ops committee before we changed to the MVD, the minimum viable DAO, which I'm super excited about. Everybody should be really excited about. It's going to really entice DAOs to think outside of the box. It's great. Love it.
So another bit of unprofessionalism there from my team, as Mikey gets an alert on his computer. So of course we got the Aurora Dogs funding going out. The Spanish DAO accomplished their meetup milestone, and so they have been approved for 10K from us for that, like a regional DAO would. The French and the Portugal DAOs completed the Coordinate Challenge. So they both will be receiving $1,000 for that. Now that's what we have right now on the sheet, but I went back really quickly and took a look at the various other different approvals that we've made. For example, we approved a 36,000 for DAO, which will be funded pretty soon, which is a DAO tool more than a DAO itself. But in total, we're probably looking at about 145,000 of funding that has gone out this last week for DAOs and DAO tooling. So that's not bad. Like we're moving the money out. We're really getting the wheels sliding, which is fantastic.
Hey Sam, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, fire away.
No, so yeah, so you're right. Yeah, DAO is also something that I'm really excited about getting going. But just real quick, based on the DAO Ops report for quarter 1, which we'll be publishing soon. Friday. Is it okay if I announce just some of the numbers real quick, Sam, or do you want to wait till Friday?
Go announce numbers.
So we've approved in quarter 1, we've approved the DAO Ops team. Now there's been several other DAOs that have come up on Harmony, but the ones that the DAO Ops team has approved and worked with, we've approved 18 DAOs for the DAO Ops team. There's a lot more. Regional DAO funding, we funded to the tune of $193,007. Core DAO funding, which are going to be DAOs like Validator DAO, Community DAO, Creative DAO, several others, $255,000, $255,399, and then Bootstrap DAOs, which are DAOs just coming in looking for bootstraps. Bootstrap grants, $629,000. So the total there is over $1 million just in quarter 1 so far.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so watch for that. That report will come out on Friday. So we're really looking forward to that. Okay, I want to turn very briefly here to, I want to show everybody the fact that we are actually, as you all know, we are actually hyper transparent. If you go to harmony.1/PERF, you can find our Q1 performance review and bonus reports. So you can drag this way through here and look at all of the various different things that we all did. The little icons, the little emojis are, a quick way of showing who's commenting what. But if I scroll down here to my section, scrolling, you can see what all of the colleagues here mentioned about what I did over the past 3 months. So I am the little fir tree, and I report up to Lee, who is our little blue running jersey. It's actually an Ultimate Frisbee jersey, because I don't know if you knew this, Lee owns a professional Ultimate Frisbee team. Number one, I had no idea that professional Ultimate Frisbee existed. And number two, why would you buy one? Anyway, so he's a huge fan of Ultimate Frisbee. So this is some of the work that we've done, and you guys can go in here and take a look at how people really commented about what work I've done over the last, 3 months, which has been great. And you may disagree, you may agree. In general, I think that my colleagues are very generous to me. So I really appreciate that, which has been great. Oh, geez, Ultimate Frisbee DAO, Devin, really?
I'm just
We're
trying to have
supposed to. We're literally supposed to be good stewards of this money. Like, that's just throwing money
Oh,
into
I'm
the
not saying we
wind.
need funding. We just need from frisbees, dude.
Okay, valid point. Okay, so that, you guys can go take a look at that, and you can see kind of, importantly, you can see if you look at what I was focused on over the last 3 months, DAOs, events, and community partnerships, and really now I'm entirely on DAOs. Now you can also go here. Now at the very bottom of the perf page, you can see, scrolling, because we review each other very, very well. Right here at the bottom, you can see the fact that April 2022, team deliverables, and then you can flip over here and see what we're all doing. So if you look here at me, this actually needs to be updated because I don't want to steal Devin and Rachel's success metric there of 10 DAO tools. I am going to be pushing for 100 new DAOs on Harmony, and I am going to be pushing for 50 DAOs using one reputation. And I'm using this as a plug. Get your Coordinape challenge done. We will give you $1,000 for getting your DAO on Coordinape, and then you can use Coordinape to power one reputation. And we will also be doing a challenge grant for that as well, because we really want to see that working. And then my final actual deliverable for this month is this specific call. I want to have 50 people on this call by the end of the month. And that means that all of your friends that are also doing DAOs, that are also signatories in other DAOs, get them to send Rachel their email address so they can join us on this call, because this is incredibly important, because I'm about to shut up here in just a second and I'm going to listen to you guys. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have concerns, you can bring them up to the DAO Ops team and we can figure out how to fix that. So on that note, feel free to visit both of these sites. Feel free to comment. Well, just talk about it, because we like to do this in the open. Okay, so now for those of you who have questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll call on you independently so that we don't have like a crazy flood of stuff. While I am, access, the question was, last week we had 21 people on the call. So we're doing well. We've definitely increased. We're up to 30, 31 on this one. So let's see, what else was I going to mention? Oh, I'm not seeing any questions yet on the call. So I will say this. I love the idea that everyone's like, oh no, let's go to Nashville. No, I love the fact that in the chat here, everybody is talking about where we want to do the one DAO. To the point about Europe. We are going to be in Paris during ECC in July in a big way. So if you're in Europe and you can make it to ECC in Paris in July, join us, come have a big conversation. That'd be fantastic. There is also discussion, Amy, are we still talking about possibly doing a DAO-a-thon in Berlin? Or is that kind of, we're not sure yet?
I think we're not sure yet. I'm hearing different feedback.
Okay. I figured, but this is how all of this works, right? Like, we have ideas, we want to do stuff, and then we kind of go back and forth, which is excellent. All right, George. First off, I'm sorry I called you out about your phone call. It just happened to be the opportune moment. So I really appreciate you being a good sport about that joke. But go ahead. You have a question.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So one question I have is, you mentioned you wanted to add a few more DAOs, right? I do feel that, having watched the DAO application space for a little bit of time, that maybe there are a lot of DAOs are overlapping with other DAOs. So I could give an example, like there's a Her DAO and then there's another one which is trying to be like a woman's DAO. But there's also her DAO technically trying to train people for development, and there's an education DAO that's coming up as an application, and it's also not just those ones. And the second would be like the types of regional DAOs. Some of them also encompass other countries which are also applying for DAOs. So, for example, there's a South Asia DAO, and though I understand the political concerns of having some countries which the communities are not entirely closely aligned, should be said, if it is named South Asia DAO, which would thus encompass both Bangladesh and India, there's also already an India DAO. So I think maybe a bit more, I'm not like trying to be a paper pusher for structure, as I do believe, in the spontaneous nature of creating DAOs. But if there is kind of a DAO already there, and you have, I've seen mentioned, talking to existing DAOs, there's still DAOs that are still going forth anyway and creating their own DAO. So I just wondered if I could get a bit more clarification regarding that. Thanks.
That is an excellent question. So we are in the process of two different things. We have a mandates page that we have coming up so if you're interested in, let's say, education, you can go to this mandates page and search for education and see all the different DAOs that are doing education. And you can join the DAO that you want to join that does education. You don't have to create your own. The same thing goes with women empowerment. Now, we actually have 3 big initiatives around women empowerment in Harmony, around DAOs. The Meta Gamma Delta DAO was our very, very first one. And they have been doing a lot for women in Web3 from the very beginning. They're not Harmony native. And so we engaged with them, and we started working with that team back in September and October of last year. And they've been doing some really good stuff. The second one is the Her DAO, and the third one is the Blue DAO. Now, what we have realized is we do have some overlap, which some overlap is okay. But in, for example, the case of the Catalan DAO, where the Catalan DAO is doing some translation, or they're doing some regional events, or all the various different mandates and requirements of like a French DAO or a Spanish DAO that already exist, how do we manage that? And the rationale and the reason we came up with, which is there is a difference between a cultural DAO and a regional DAO, is that there are things that a cultural DAO can do that a regional DAO wouldn't do. And so we lean into those metrics. So for example, if there's a meetup in Barcelona that could overlap with the same group of people that would be going to a Catalan DAO and a Spanish DAO, that's the Spanish DAO's responsibility. That's their kind of meetup that they'll do. Now, this is really important. It's not exclusionary. Just because you're in the Catalan DAO doesn't mean you cannot also help with the Spanish DAO. We can be in multiple different DAOs at the same time. Those communities need to be talking to each other. They need to be leaning on each other. And they really, really need to make sure that everything is moving forward. It's not a competition. We had a very interesting conversation between 2 different Turkey DAOs. And I don't mean like Thanksgiving turkey. I mean the country of Turkey.
I saw that.
Yeah, and that actually got a little, I don't think I'd say acrimonious, but it was like one group had a very specific idea of how they wanted to do it, and another group had a very different idea about what they wanted to do.
If I could just kind of add that, I think from my humble knowledge of the country, one part of the proposal came from a team in Izmir, which is kind of a bit further away from Istanbul. Yeah. And another one came from Istanbul. And I think, how to put it, I think it does highlight an issue, which is that maybe if there's a lot of people in a particular country, you might have to create, I don't know if micro DAOs is the correct term, but there might have to be more than one DAO for a country, because there are significant differences within certain areas of a particular country, as you mentioned. But if there was going to be a DAO for Thailand, I would be very hesitant for that, for example, because it would be said it is very hard to have events all across the country representing one. I hope that makes sense. You might have to have one for the North and one for the South. But I was just wondering, in your structure, how would that kind of be written in the guidelines so that it would be open to that kind of creation?
That's an excellent question. I think because this is actually one of the things we're grappling with right now about the overlap between the community DAOs, the ambassador DAO, and campus-oriented DAOs here in the States, right? And so we want to be able to have something that a DAO can help engage college students, because those individuals, especially if like they're CS grads and they're working hard about learning how to code Solidity and they want an entryway into Web3, it is prime, it's a prime demographic for us to engage with. But the Ambassador DAO has their own set of deliverables. The Community DAO has their own set of deliverables. And there are way too many campuses for us to be saying $50,000 for every single campus. So I can envision, and George, I would love to get some feedback from you, because it sounds like you've done some very significant work in this. You've been thinking about this a lot, about how we would structure that, because I think you are right about the fact that there is a need for, we've been talking about a super regional DAO, something that Africa DAO used to be, and that then would help launch like the Kenya DAO and the Nigeria DAO and so on and so forth, because that's kind of what the LATAM DAO is doing, where they're going to help launch like a Brazil DAO and a Mexico DAO and stuff like that. So if you have some recommendations, I would love to have a conversation, because to your point, this is something we're grappling with right now.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it, man. And then Mikey, will you also help with George so that it doesn't end up living on my plate alone?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Mikey,
definitely.
add me in that conversation as well too, if you would. I would love that.
Perfect.
Cool.
Awesome.
I just want to say also, like, to, what we're talking about here is, I don't like, there's a fine line between, why Harmony denies something, or how far our fingers get into the DAO pie. Like if someone comes to a DAO proposal, if someone comes up to us with a proposal, if there can be overlap, I'm hesitant to just deny DAOs just because another one might be doing something similar to them. I don't know if that's Harmony's place, but that's definitely a good talking point. So I'll set up a group with me, Shock, and you, George, if that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
sure.
sure you
Where would
keep-
the deliverables go to?
Pardon?
Where would the deliverables go to? Would it just go to the Notion website as a?
So
We're
as
gonna
far
write
as
something
the,
up and then send it somewhere?
what we would do, George, is it'd be me, it'd be Mikey, it'd be Chalk, and you in a Telegram group. We would flesh out what we want to do as far as what we'd like to recommend as far as how the structure would go. We would make sure that we have a conversation with Lee and Steven to make sure we don't have any blockers on that end as well. And we'd also want to engage the community. This is one of the things that actually, we need a little bit of infrastructure to support this, but I'd love to see much more of a community engagement that says, I know that Ed Norris, is he on the call today? Sometimes he is. Oh, there you are. Hey, Ed. I know that you jump into a bunch of conversations, which is great, about DAOs. And you're like, hey, we're doing this over here, we're doing this over there. Same with Edward from the Africa DAO. He jumps into a bunch. And Nick Vasilich, he also jumps into a bunch talking about regional DAOs. And that is fantastic, because that's exactly the way that we want to make sure that we have the community who's actively engaged on the talk forum, who also understands where all of these other DAOs are, and helping slide that behavior into there. There was a hand there for a second, but it looks like it brought down because I kept on talking.
No,
Who was it? Oh, Tony, yes.
Yeah, it was me. Thanks, Sam. I think you started to talk on some of the points that I was going to make. For example, Nigeria is quite big. I don't think one DAO can serve the entire country, where we have, I think, about 250 million people. So it does make sense to begin to have regional DAOs. And then some of these DAOs could have different
here for 15, 20 minutes and then come with you.
Sorry, I muted Kruger for a second there.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So what I was saying basically is the fact that there could be different DAOs from like the same place, they could have different goals, they could have different approaches to things. And I think it would not be nice to outrightly shut down an idea from another person just because you feel there's already a DAO coming from that country.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Tony. The one other thing that we have to keep our eyes on, right, is that Harmony wants to see 10,000 DAOs running on Harmony within the next 5 years. Obviously, we are not going to be able to fund all of those. And we're not going to be able to fund all of them consistently in perpetuity year after year after year after year. What is super important is we find a mechanism where the communities can start help funding the DAOs, and the DAOs can actually start finding their path to self-sufficiency. Whether the DAO creates a product that they release, whether they have their communities donate to them and then they stake that to create some passive income. It all depends upon what the DAO wants to do to make sure that they have funds going forward when Harmony's treasury is bone dry, which will eventually happen. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, so we have 5 minutes left until the top of the hour. Are there any other questions? Because if not, then I may just turn it over to Devin, or actually I turn it over to Amy. Amy can dance. Amy is an amazing dancer. If you guys seen Amy dance, because she is absolutely incredible. You have to see her dance. She's really, really good. Actually, Amy, if you have 2 seconds, you are one of the signatories for the Blue DAO. And I was wondering if you could just share 1 or 2 key things that the Blue DAO is working on here this month of April.
Thank God. I was so afraid you're gonna ask me to dance.
Oh, wait, hang on 1 second, Amy. Let me pause and ask Ben at Sacred Do. Ben, did you have something you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, maybe something for Devin. I was lately thinking about, because this is a good point you were raising up, that the DAOs should be self-sustainable, and I'm working with the German DAO. And the idea on the German DAO I had, it was open up the Discord with a badge. So you mind your German DAO badge and give like 100 runs, and this treasury could be used for the community. And I wonder if there's a platform coming in future where we could have something like this, because I know Guild is already out, and with this we could protect the Discord.
Yeah, so really quickly on that point, Ben, one of the things we're pushing for really hard, not necessarily a badge like you'd see in Discord, but a social token. And that is a way that people incentivize engagement, is by requiring people to buy in to a DAO. 100 ones isn't a ton. That's like $1.60 in US dollars right now. But we just want to be careful. We want to make sure that there is a very easy onboarding process. Like I said, $1.60 isn't that big of a deal, but it may scare is not the right word, but it may create a barrier to entry for some people. Anyway, but I like the idea. Amy, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know that the Blue DAO has been talking about selling an NFT. But I also just want to say, hey, tell us a little bit about the Blue DAO here in April. And then we will wrap up this particular call, post it onto YouTube, and find very funny comments in the comment section.
Thank you, Sam. Honored to be speaking on behalf of Blue DAO. We have a lot going on, so much. I think we're running at least 20 projects at the same time. But one of our one of the ones that we'll be hosting next week is a social token 101 workshop and minting on Harmony. We launched 14 what I call baby DAOs in EFRIO. They were part of our Project Y grants, and collectively between the signatories, we directly supported 22 new DAOs for Harmony. And so not everyone is here on this call, but we're going to do a lot more of getting them onboarded, which includes the social token workshop. We would love to invite all of you guys here or anyone else that has interest in minting or learning about social tokens. I know Stephen also initiated a 1,000 social token launch in NFTLA. So I think there is a need to learn more about social tokens, and the invite is right here in the chat. I'll paste it in your chat shortly. And then second of all, we are going to ETH Amsterdam. We're sending 2 hackathon teams, and the hackathon teams is meant to help us create our very own social token minting DApp. And so I want to hear what any feedback if you have your own tokens, what you would like to do with it. Right now, there's no easy way to airdrop tokens to your DAO members. And I think that's the main 2 things I would like to highlight for April, Sam.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, we are going to call that a day today for the DAO Ops stand-up. Again, I appreciate everybody coming in and participating. We will be posting this recording a little bit later on YouTube, a little bit later today. Yeah, make sure everyone grab that link. Let's see, is that... Hey, Amy, would it be possible for you to tweet out that link on the Blue DAO Twitter?
Yes.
That way everyone can grab it there as well as the chat box will be going away here in just a second.
Yeah, I
Thank
didn't
you.
want to announce it yet because here's the real alpha, right?
Right? Let's get in there early. That'd be really exciting. So again, get out there, follow Devin and contribute to his poll about where we should have the One DAO conference. Follow Rachel and send all of your friends that are also signatories in DAOs their email addresses to her so that you can they can join this wonderful call. Make sure you follow Mr. Ford Slosh, Mikey right here, who is currently, is your name AMA DAO? Is that what your current name is on Twitter?
No, now it's DAO is blank.
DAO is blank, kind of like my brain after these calls. And follow him and make sure that you give him an incredibly hard time if you haven't been funded yet, because I know he loves that. No, don't do that. Be nice to Mikey.
No, I do. I do. Also really quickly, everybody, watch out. Me and Sam had a really awesome conversation with Skylar and his Harmonized podcast that'll be coming out in the next week or 2. And you'll get a lot more inside information about DAO funding and DAO tooling and what Harmony wants to do with DAOs. And what DAOs can do for Harmony on his podcast. So, and it's funny. Sam makes fun of me the whole time. It's great. I love it.
It was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of. I'm one of Mikey's biggest fans, and that's not just because I put on some weight during the pandemic. Tim just mentioned the fact that he does understand how to do an airdrop and create a token. There are a bunch of different mechanisms, so we can 100% work with that. And also, Tim, I would love to bring you in a little bit with our conversations with Colin as well. But let's make sure that you are, you have a brain inside your head instead of just a fog of painkillers. Okay, thank you guys all very much. This was fantastic. Loved seeing you all. I'm looking forward to seeing 40 people on the call next week. So tell your friends.
Yes.